The fastest way to corrupt your success is to compare your private struggle to another man's public victory. You see his money. You do not see his debt. You see his body. You do not see his years of repetition. You see his company. You do not see his rejected offers, failed tests, silent years, and broken confidence. Then you judge your entire future from the worst angle possible, your behind the scenes against his highlight reel. That is not ambition. That is psychological surrender. The law is cold. The man you envy is not your enemy. Your stolen focus is. And once your focus is stolen, comparison does not stop at emotion. It enters your decisions. It changes what you build, who you copy, how fast you panic, and whether you remain loyal to your own battlefield. This is where most men misunderstand comparison. They think it is just a feeling. They think it is harmless. They think they are only checking where they stand. But a man rarely checks where he stands without letting what he sees invade his mind. He scrolls through another man's result, another man's body, another man's money, another man's relationship, another man's company, another man's recognition, and he calls it research. But inside, something begins to move. His patience becomes weaker. His own plan starts to look too slow. His own progress starts to feel pathetic. His own work starts to feel invisible. And without noticing it, he stops building from reality and starts reacting to an image. That is the real danger. Comparison does not destroy you by making you feel bad. It destroys you by making you obey a false measurement system. You wake up with a plan. You know what you were supposed to do. One proof asset, one hard session, one serious outreach, one skill repetition, one uncomfortable action that would move your position forward. Then you see another man winning publicly, and suddenly your simple plan feels too small. You start questioning your entire timeline. You start changing strategies before your current strategy has produced enough evidence. You start copying a man whose process you do not know, whose costs you have not seen, whose advantages you have not measured, and whose public image may have nothing to do with your actual battlefield. A man does not lose because another man is ahead. He loses when another man's visible success controls his internal command. Understand this clearly. The man ahead of you may not even be playing your game. He may have different capital, different connections, different risk tolerance, different timing, different responsibilities, different wounds, different advantages, different costs, and different invisible pressure. But you look at one visible metric and turn it into a verdict on your entire future. That is how a man becomes mentally ruled by appearances. He does not need to be defeated by an enemy. He only needs to surrender his attention to an image that makes him abandon his own position. You think you are checking where you stand. Reality says you are letting another man's public result control your emotional state. And once your emotional state is controlled, your execution becomes unstable. You rush your timeline. You abandon your strategy. You copy the wrong person. You seek validation instead of proof. You feel behind without measuring real progress. Then you call the panic ambition, but it is not ambition. It is insecurity wearing the mask of urgency. Real ambition is not panic. Real ambition is disciplined pressure aimed at a measurable outcome. Panic makes a man move faster in the wrong direction. Ambition makes a man stay loyal to the right pressure long enough to create proof. This is why social comparison becomes dangerous when it turns observation into self-abandonment. Observation is useful when it gives you intelligence. Comparison is poisonous when it makes you betray your own strategy. A disciplined man can look at another man's success and ask, what does this reveal about the market? What skill does this prove has value? What standard does this expose? What demand is visible here? What can I learn without worshipping the person who has it? But an undisciplined man looks at the same success and asks, why am I not there yet? Why is he ahead of me? Why does he have what I do not have? Why does the world reward him while I am still invisible? That is the moment he leaves his battlefield. And once he leaves his battlefield, he becomes easy to control, not by a person, by an image, by a number, by a lifestyle post, by a public victory he does not understand, by a body he did not see being built, by wealth he did not see being risked, by confidence he did not see being earned through humiliation, rejection, repetition, and private doubt. You are not looking at his life. You are looking at the part of his life that survived editing. This is the second corruption. You compare two different realities. You compare your confusion to his confidence. You compare your early stage to his final edit. You compare your ordinary day to his peak moment. You compare your private doubt to his public certainty. Then you ask why you are not like him. But the comparison is dishonest from the beginning. You are measuring your full reality against his visible surface. A man who only judges what is visible becomes a servant of appearances. That is a humiliating form of slavery because it does not look like slavery. It looks like ambition. It looks like self-improvement. It looks like motivation. It looks like studying winners. But inside, your command structure is being taken apart. Your attention moves away from output and toward ranking. Your energy moves away from execution and toward resentment. Your direction moves away from your own next move and toward another man's current position. Your patience dies because another man's visible result makes your private process feel unacceptable. This is why so many ambitious men feel exhausted before they have truly begun. They are not exhausted from the work alone. They are exhausted from carrying the emotional weight of other people's outcomes. They work a little, compare a lot, doubt themselves, consume more, act less, and then wonder why their confidence keeps collapsing. Confidence cannot survive when your attention keeps voting against your own process. Your mind was not designed to build your future while constantly standing in the courtroom of other men's success. Every time you compare without discipline, you put yourself on trial. His money becomes evidence against you. His body becomes evidence against you. His company becomes evidence against you. His followers become evidence against you. His lifestyle becomes evidence against you. His recognition becomes evidence against you. Then you become both the accused and the judge, and the verdict is always the same. I am behind. I am late. I am losing. I am not enough. But look closer. Behind is not a measurement unless you know the race, the start point, the resources, the terrain, the costs, and the destination. Most men do not know any of this. They see one metric and call it truth. They see one result and call it destiny. They see one public victory and turn it into private defeat. That is not realism. That is emotional laziness. Realism asks for evidence. What did he build? What did he risk? What did he repeat? What market did he serve? What skill did he develop? What leverage did he create? What proof made people respond? What costs are hidden behind the image? What part of this result is useful intelligence? And what part is just decoration designed to provoke envy? Once you ask those questions, comparison begins to lose its power. Because the image stops being a verdict and becomes data. The man stops being your master and becomes information. His success stops being proof that you are losing and starts becoming proof that a certain path, skill, offer, standard, or market response may exist. That is the difference between a spectator and an operator. A spectator sees success and feels smaller. An operator sees success and extracts intelligence. A spectator asks, why him? An operator asks, what mechanism is working here? A spectator worships the visible result. An operator studies the invisible process. A spectator becomes emotionally ranked. an operator becomes strategically informed. This is why the example of Jeff Bezos matters. The internet was emerging. Many people saw the same trend. The internet was not hidden from the entire world. The opportunity was not sitting in some secret room available only to one man. Many people had access to the same signal. They could see that something was changing. They could see that commerce, information, and attention were beginning to move into a new arena. But seeing a trend does not make a man powerful. Testing a trend does. Bezos did not sit there asking, who is already richer than me? Who has more status? Who has more approval? Who is ahead in the public ranking? He chose a specific market test. An online bookstore, not a vague dream, not a motivational identity, not a fantasy of being a visionary. A test, a specific market, a specific offer, a specific way to discover whether attention could become demand and whether demand could become orders. That is the moment where ambition becomes real, not when a man feels inspired, not when he imagines success, not when he compares himself to someone already winning. Ambition becomes real when attention becomes action, and action produces evidence. Amazon created real customer orders. That was proof, not applause, not validation from family, not public approval from people who did not understand the risk. Proof. The market responded. That response mattered more than emotional ranking. Bezos did not need to compare timelines. He needed to test opportunity. This is a brutal lesson for any man who feels behind. You do not escape invisibility by staring at visible men. You escape invisibility by creating evidence. The world does not update its judgment because you feel serious. It updates when your actions create something measurable. Orders, output, skill, distribution, reputation, assets, results, response. Rich men do not compare timelines. They test opportunities. But most men do the opposite. They look at another man's outcome and use it to punish themselves. Instead of asking what opportunity is being revealed, they ask why their life is not already there. Instead of designing a test, they consume more proof that someone else has already moved. Instead of converting envy into intelligence, they convert envy into paralysis. This is where your life begins to split. One version of you sees another man succeeding and becomes bitter. Another version sees the same man succeeding and becomes sharper. The first version says, I am behind. The second version says, there is demand here. The first version says, he has advantages. The second version says, what advantage can I build? The first version says, people like him always win. The second version says, what proof would force the market to respond to me? One version worships the distance. The other studies the mechanism. You have to decide which man you are becoming. And do not mistake this for comfort. I am not telling you that every man ahead of you had it easy. I am not telling you that your disadvantages are imaginary. They may be real. You may have less support, less money, less guidance, less family backing, less social capital, fewer introductions, more pressure, more fatigue, more years spent trying to build after work while other men had help, safety, and rooms opened for them. But that still does not make comparison useful unless you convert it into strategy. Pain does not make you powerful. Converted pain does. Your disadvantage becomes power only when it changes your standards, your discipline, your proof, your leverage, and your ability to act without permission. If it only becomes resentment, it is not power. It is another chain. This is why unsupported men must be more careful with comparison than men who have safety nets. A man with support can afford emotional waste. He can afford confusion longer. He can afford false starts. He can fail and be caught. But a man building without support cannot afford to spend his strongest hours emotionally obeying another man's highlight reel. His attention has to become a weapon. His time has to become proof. His discipline has to become evidence. His solitude has to become structure, not rumination. If you are the kind of man this channel is built for, stop confusing consumption with progress. You already know the truth. Seeing reality clearly is not your problem. Your problem is deciding what to build with that clarity. If you keep scrolling, comparing, and calling it research, you will lose the hours that should have become leverage. The leverage map exists for that reason. Depths of psyche helps you see reality clearly. The leverage map shows you what to build with that clarity, the skill path, proof project, and execution plan that fit your current situation. This is not for men who want motivation while staying unchanged. It is for men who are ready to turn pressure into evidence. The decision is yours. And if this video is cutting into something you know is true, subscribe, like the video, and comment the one metric you will measure this week. Not for performance, for proof. Now look at the second example. Bill Gates and Paul Allen faced a different emerging field. Personal computing was opening a new arena. Again, the opportunity was not simply about seeing the future. Many people can see change coming. Few can build something useful inside that change. Gates and Allen built Altair Basic. That became Microsoft's first product. Do not rush past that. Their first real power was not public recognition. It was usable proof. They did not need the world to validate their identity before they acted. They did not need the market to tell them they were important before they built. They did not wait until they felt equal to the industry. They created something the industry could use. That is the line most men refuse to cross. They want confidence before action. They want status before proof. They want validation before output. They want the world to see their potential before they have turned potential into evidence. But markets do not reward your internal story. They reward what you can make useful. They reward what solves pressure, saves time, creates value, increases capability, or opens opportunity. They do not care that you feel underestimated. They care whether your work changes anything. This is why comparison is such a dangerous substitute for production. It gives you the emotional experience of being near success without forcing you to create proof. You watch builders, you study winners, you analyze rich men, you listen to powerful ideas, you feel closer to the world you want. But unless that attention turns into output, nothing has changed except your fantasy. The market does not reward emotional ranking, it rewards usable proof. That sentence should offend the part of you that still wants to be understood before you are proven. Because deep down, many ambitious men are still waiting for someone to see what they could become. They want their family to understand. They want friends to believe. They want society to notice the seriousness inside them. They want the world to respond to potential as if potential were already evidence. But potential is private. Proof is public. Potential is what you believe about yourself. Proof is what reality can measure. Potential may be real, but until it becomes visible, useful, repeatable, or valuable, the world has little reason to change its behavior toward you. This is harsh, but it is also freeing. Because if the world responds to proof, then you do not need to beg the world to understand your ambition. You need to build enough evidence that misunderstanding becomes expensive. This is where the old belief must be cut out. If he is ahead, I am losing. No, another man may be ahead in one visible metric: money, followers, body, lifestyle, recognition. But power is not one metric. A man can have money and no discipline. A man can have followers and no leverage. A man can have a body and no emotional command. A man can have lifestyle images and hidden debt. A man can have recognition and no freedom. A man can look ahead publicly while being weak privately. Power includes discipline, reputation, leverage, emotional command, proof, endurance, strategic position. When you compare yourself to one metric, you reduce your life to the part of the scoreboard designed to make you react. That is how your perception gets captured. You stop asking whether you are becoming stronger in reality. You only ask whether you appear behind in public. That is a weak question. The stronger question is not, why is he ahead of me? The stronger question is, what evidence did I create this week? The stronger question is not, why does he have more status? The stronger question is, what proof would raise my status in reality? The stronger question is not, why am I not there yet? The stronger question is, what action moves my position today? Because the strategic man replaces comparison with measurement. Measurement returns your power because it brings your attention back to what you control. You cannot control another man's starting point. You cannot control his family, his network, his luck, his timing, his public image, his hidden costs, or the way people respond to him. But you can control the proof you produce. You can control whether you published, whether you reached out, whether you built the portfolio piece, whether you practiced the skill, whether you tracked the result, whether you converted envy into intelligence or wasted it as emotional poison. The man who measures becomes difficult to manipulate because he no longer needs the public scoreboard to tell him whether he exists. He has his own evidence, he has his own numbers, he has his own output, he has his own battlefield. And once a man has his own battlefield, comparison loses its authority. And this is where Machiavelli becomes useful, not as decoration, not as a costume, not as a name placed in a title to sound darker, but as a discipline of perception. Machiavelli's lesson was never to worship imagination. It was to look at the real truth of the thing, not the fantasy, not the appearance, not the story men tell to protect their pride, not the beautiful version of events that makes weakness feel noble. The real truth. In the modern world, the highlight reel is imagination. The public image is imagination. The perfect body without the years of repetition is imagination. The visible money without debt, risk, timing, leverage, family background, or hidden pressure is imagination. The confident founder without rejected offers, failed tests, silent years, and broken confidence is imagination. The man who seems effortlessly powerful is often showing you only the part of his reality that strengthens his position. And you, if you are not careful, will measure your life against imagination and call it truth. That is how a man becomes weak while believing he is becoming realistic. He says, "I am just seeing reality." But he is not seeing reality. He is seeing a curated fragment. He is seeing a visible outcome stripped away from process, cost, context, sacrifice, timing, and risk. He is seeing the crown without the war, the muscle without the repetition, the company without the uncertainty, the recognition without the years of being ignored. Then he takes that fragment and turns it into judgment. This is not intelligence. It is surrender to image. A strategic man does not measure how far ahead another man looks. He measures what his own actions are producing: output, proof, market response, skill growth, leverage, weekly progress. These are harder to fake because they demand contact with reality. You can fantasize about status. You can exaggerate your potential. You can tell yourself your time will come. You can scroll through the lives of successful men and feel temporarily attached to their altitude. But output does not care about fantasy. Proof does not care about your excuses. Market response does not care about your emotional state. Skill growth does not care how misunderstood you feel. Weekly progress does not care who clapped for you. This is why measurement is brutal. It removes the drama. And many men are addicted to drama because drama protects the ego. It is easier to say he had help. It is easier to say the algorithm favored him. It is easier to say people like him always win. It is easier to say I am behind because life was unfair. Some of that may be true. But if the statement does not produce a move, it becomes useless. A truth that does not become strategy can still become a prison. So ask colder questions. What did I produce this week? What did I improve this week? What did I publish this week? What did I send this week? What did I build this week? What did I learn from the market this week? What proof exists now that did not exist before? These questions are uncomfortable because they do not allow you to hide inside comparison. They force your attention back into your hands. That is why most men avoid them. They prefer to measure their lives emotionally because emotional measurement requires no proof. It only requires feeling. And feeling behind can become a strange form of identity. A man can become attached to it. He can wake up every day carrying the same story. I am late, I am unsupported, I am ignored, I am misunderstood, I am behind. But if that story never becomes evidence, discipline, leverage, skill, or action, then it is not a story of ambition. It is a ritual of weakness. The comparison loop is simple, and once you see it, you will recognize it everywhere. Scroll. Compare. Feel behind. Lose focus. Consume more. Act less. Fall further behind. At first, it looks harmless. A few minutes, a few posts, a few successful men, a few images, a few videos, a few numbers. But your mind does not process all of it neutrally. Every image becomes a signal. Every signal becomes a comparison. Every comparison creates an emotional shift. Every emotional shift changes your next action. That is the hidden cost, not the feeling. The lost action. You were supposed to build. Instead, you watched. You were supposed to practice. Instead, you judged yourself. You were supposed to send the message. Instead, you imagined rejection. You were supposed to finish the project. Instead, you redesigned your identity. You were supposed to create proof. Instead, you consumed evidence that another man already has proof. This is how comparison steals attention, energy, direction, patience, self-trust, and execution speed. It does not attack everything at once. It makes small withdrawals from your command. First, it takes your attention, then your emotional state, then your patience, then your consistency, then your confidence, then your proof. And after months of this, a man looks at his life and says, "Why have I not moved?" Because he gave his strongest hours to a scoreboard that did not belong to him. Comparison does not show you the game. It removes you from your own game. This is why you must stop asking weak questions. Do not ask, "Why is he ahead of me?" Ask, "What evidence did I create this week?" Do not ask, "Why does he have more status?" Ask, "What proof would raise my status in reality?" Do not ask, "Why am I not there yet?" Ask, "What action moves my position today?" Do not ask, "Why did they notice him?" Ask, "What have I built that makes ignoring me expensive?" That last question matters. Most men want to be noticed before they become difficult to ignore. They want recognition before they produce enough evidence. They want respect before they create enough leverage. They want belief before they generate proof. This is why their ambition becomes emotionally expensive. They are trying to extract a response from the world before they have created the conditions that force response. The world is not fair. but it is not completely mystical either. It responds to signals. Skill is a signal. Consistency is a signal. Distribution is a signal. Reputation is a signal. Scarcity is a signal. Proof is a signal. Leverage is a signal. When those signals become strong enough, people update their behavior, not always because they love you, not always because they suddenly understand you, often because the cost of ignoring you has changed. That is the code part. You do not need everyone to believe in your potential. You need to build proof that changes the incentives around you. This is the replacement for comparison. Strategic measurement. A strategic man does not wake up and ask, "Who is ahead of me today?" He asks, "What is the one controllable metric that moves my position?" Videos published, outreach messages sent, portfolio pieces built, skill repetitions completed, applications submitted, sales calls booked, proof assets created. These metrics do not flatter you. They discipline you. They give your ambition a physical body. They turn private intensity into public evidence. And evidence is where power begins. A man with evidence does not need to perform confidence as loudly. His proof starts speaking. Not completely, not magically, but enough to change his relationship with the world. He can negotiate better. He can position better. He can attract better people. He can see what works. He can discard what does not. He can stop arguing with people who only understand results. He can let reality become his witness. This is where envy can become useful. Envy is not useless. Raw envy is wasted pain. Converted envy is intelligence. When another man's success hits you, do not immediately submit to it. Interrogate it. What am I actually seeing? Am I seeing results without process? Status without cost? Wealth without risk? Confidence without doubt? Victory without failed attempts? Then ask the better question. What does his success reveal about the market? Maybe it reveals demand. Maybe it reveals a skill gap. Maybe it reveals a content angle. Maybe it reveals a business model. Maybe it reveals a discipline standard. Maybe it reveals a reputation strategy. Maybe it reveals that people will pay for a result you have been treating as ordinary. Maybe it reveals that your taste is higher than your output, and your frustration is the gap between what you can recognize and what you can currently produce. That gap should not humiliate you. It should train you. A weak man sees the gap and collapses. A strategic man sees the gap and builds a bridge. This is the ambition reality test. First, identify the comparison trigger. Whose public success controls your private state? Name it, not vaguely, not as a concept. A person, a type of person, a platform, a lifestyle, a number, a body, a business, a level of recognition. If you cannot name what controls you, you cannot reclaim command from it. Second, separate image from reality. What are you actually seeing? Usually, you are seeing the result without the process, status without cost, wealth without risk, confidence without doubt, victory without failed attempts. You are not seeing the full battlefield. You are seeing the flag after the battle. Third, convert envy into intelligence. Ask what his success reveals about the market, demand, skill gap, content angle, business model, discipline standard, reputation strategy. If you cannot extract intelligence from envy, envy will extract energy from you. Fourth, choose one controllable metric, not 10. 1. Pick the metric that brings your attention back to reality. Videos published, outreach messages sent, portfolio pieces built, skill repetitions completed, applications submitted, sales calls booked, proof assets created. A man with too many metrics often has no command. Choose the one that forces action. Fifth, take one independent action. Publish one proof asset. Send 5 serious messages. Complete one visible project. Build one case study. Remove one comparison trigger. Track output for 7 days. Do not turn the test into philosophy. Do not turn it into a journal entry that dies by morning. Make it visible. Make it measurable. Make it difficult for your old self to deny. The rule is simple. Replace comparison with proof. Not because proof guarantees applause. It does not. Not because proof makes life instantly fair. It does not. Not because every man who builds will win quickly. He will not. Replace comparison with proof because proof is the only path that returns command to you. It gives you reality to work with. It gives you evidence. It gives you feedback. It gives you a stronger identity than the identity of the man who watches other men live. And understand this clearly. The goal is not to become blind to other men's success. Blindness is not strength. Denial is not strength. Pretending you do not care is not strength. Real strength is being able to see another man win without becoming mentally owned by his victory. Real strength is being able to study success without worshipping it. Real strength is being able to admit the gap without turning the gap into your identity. A disciplined man can say, he is ahead in that metric, and I still control my next move. That sentence is power, because it separates observation from surrender. It allows you to see reality without being ruled by it. It allows you to study the battlefield without abandoning your position. It allows you to respect another man's result without making him the judge of your future. Most men cannot do this. They either worship or resent. They either idolize the man ahead or secretly hope he falls. Both reactions keep him central. Both reactions preserve his power over your attention. The strategic man does neither. He studies, extracts, measures, acts, and returns to his own work. That is emotional command. Not numbness, not arrogance, not pretending nothing affects you. Emotional command means your feelings report information without becoming your ruler. Envy may tell you there is something you desire. Good, now examine it. Fear may tell you the gap is real. Good, now measure it. Shame may tell you your output does not match your self-image. Good, now build proof. But do not let any of these emotions seize the throne. A man who cannot govern his attention cannot govern his future. This is why the final battle is not against social media. It is not against successful men. It is not against the algorithm. It is not against your peers. Those may influence the battlefield, but they are not the core enemy. The core enemy is the part of you that keeps outsourcing your measurement system to public images. When another man's highlight becomes the judge of your future, you stop being the author of your own discipline. You become reactive. And reactive men are easy to move. Show them a richer man, they panic. Show them a stronger body, they hate themselves. Show them a younger winner, they feel late. Show them a peer with recognition, they feel invisible. Show them a founder with traction, they abandon their own project. Show them someone with status, they confuse attention with value. But a strategic man is harder to move. He has metrics. He has structure. He has proof projects. He has a battlefield. He knows what he is measuring this week. He knows what action matters today. He knows which signals are useful and which signals are poison. He does not need to feel superior. He needs to become more accurate. Accuracy is more powerful than motivation. Motivation rises and falls. Accuracy lets you see the move. Motivation can make you loud. Accuracy makes you dangerous in a practical sense. It tells you what to cut, what to build, what to ignore, what to repeat, and what to stop pretending. This is the identity shift. You are not the man trying to feel equal to men ahead of you. You are the man building evidence until equality becomes irrelevant. You are not the man asking public images to tell you your worth. You are the man using reality to sharpen your position. You are not the man who collapses when he sees another man win. You are the man who asks what mechanism made the win possible and what proof you must build next. You are not behind every man who looks ahead. You are only behind your own unused capacity. That is the part that should disturb you. Not his money, not his body, not his company, not his company, not his status. Your unused capacity, your wasted attention, your unbuilt proof, your unmeasured weeks, your repeated surrender to images that cannot build your life for you. The man you envy cannot do your work. He cannot build your skill. He cannot create your proof. He cannot make your calls. He cannot publish your work. He cannot practice your craft. He cannot endure your early stage for you. He cannot save you from the discipline you are avoiding. So why are you giving him command? Take it back. Start with the smallest brutal measurement. What did I build this week that exists outside my head? If the answer is nothing, do not decorate it. Do not philosophize it. Do not turn it into a speech about potential. Let the silence accuse you, then respond with action. Build one asset. Send 5 serious messages. Complete 1 visible project. Track output for 7 days. Remove 1 comparison trigger. Create 1 piece of proof that reality can judge. Small does not mean weak. Small becomes powerful when it is repeated with direction. Most men do not lose because the first action is too small. They lose because they despise the small action while fantasizing about the large result. They want the empire, but they avoid the brick. They want recognition, but they avoid visible output. They want leverage, but they avoid the boring proof that creates trust. The battlefield is not glamorous in the beginning. It is private, repetitive, unseen, often humiliating. You are building while still looking ordinary. You are practicing while still being ignored. You are publishing while nobody cares. You are sending messages while being rejected. You are creating proof before anyone has agreed that you are worth watching. That is where the stronger man is formed, not in applause, in repetition without applause, not in validation, in evidence before validation, not in comparison, in measurement. If you are an ambitious man who is tired of pretending that scrolling is research, stop feeding false progress. You already know comparison is stealing your focus, but your real problem is that you have not turned clarity into a system of proof. If you keep consuming other men's victories while avoiding your own measurable output, you will become a man with taste, opinions, and resentment, but no leverage. Inside Patreon, you get exclusive, unfiltered material, deeper breakdowns, and practical doctrine designed to help you turn self-command into skill, proof, positioning, and execution. This is not for spectators who want to feel powerful for an hour. It is for men who are ready to become measurable in reality. The decision is yours. Now return to the central law. The man you envy is not your enemy. Your stolen focus is. His success can only rule you if your attention obeys it. His image can only damage you if you turn it into a verdict. His progress can only weaken you if you abandon your own measurement. The moment you take the image apart, extract the intelligence, choose the metric, and act independently, comparison loses its throne. Stop comparing your private struggle to another man's public success. You are not seeing his full reality. You are seeing the image that survived editing. You are not seeing the debt behind the money, the repetitions behind the body, the rejected offers behind the company, the failed tests behind the product, the silent years behind the confidence, or the private cost behind the public victory. Do not let another man's highlight become the judge of your future. Measure output, measure proof, Measure discipline. Measure leverage. Ask what evidence you are building today. Ask what action moves your position today. Ask what one metric will return your attention to your own battlefield. Then act before your mind negotiates you back into spectatorship. And if this video forced you to see something you can no longer ignore, do not let that clarity disappear. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and write one sentence in the comments: "I replace comparison with proof." Then name the proof you will build this week. Not someday. This week. Because the world does not owe your ambition belief. It responds to evidence. So stop watching another man's battlefield. Become undeniable on your own.